iconic and legendary Paula Reiser, one of my faves in Hollywood, in comedy.
like you already
Mad
so
About
much.
You, My Two Dads. Congratulations
Thank
on the
you.
Critics' Choice nominee.
Go back to legendary. I enjoy
You are legendary, absolutely. Me and my sister used to love your shows, and
That's so
still do.
sweet.
We love your work.
Thank you. We're here tonight because Reboot is nominated, which I'm so happy about because it's a great show. It's a little confusing to me because it's a show about making a show, and it's so lifelike that I often will get confused. Like we'll have a scene where I'm giving notes, I'm going, but I'm not really giving notes. This is pretend, and because I'm simple. I'm very simple, easily confused.
Very simple. That's funny. That's funny. Very simple, easily confused. Okay, so I want to talk to you really quickly about the sustainability and longevity of your career. You know,
It's got to stop at some point, don't you think?
no.
I don't know. I'm just judging from my wife because she tells me a little of me goes a long way. So I think, no, I'm teasing. I've been really lucky. I have. I get to do all these great shows. And then when I'm not doing shows, I get to go out and perform stand-up, which is my first love. That's the thing I really love doing. So I'm, knock on wood, don't tell anybody, but I'm having fun.
What's your writing process like? And can you give any advice to, younger comics out there, who kind of may not really understand the nuances of the writing process?
It's the writing process. The only thing I've ever told young comics is just get up and do it as often as you can, and you won't be good for a long time. But you have to know that because you think you're good. And I did in the beginning. I went up twice. I went, all right, I think I have this. And then 10 years later, you go, oh, I think I now know what I'm doing. So, yes, you have to put in the years.
All right, so.
Start young.
Well, that's what I tell people. Start as young as possible.
Yes.
If you can,
Yes.
be one of the lucky ones to identify what it is you want to do early and stay at it. All right, so we're kicking off award season. We already had the Golden Globes. Tonight is the Critics' Choice. What films have you seen in 2022 that you are rooting for this award season?
I'm now thrown. Tell me what's up. What's up tonight?
Okay, so I like The Banshees of Inisherin.
Love that.
I love The Fablemans.
Love that.
Did you see Tar?
I know, but it's on my list. Banshee, I love Banshees. I just made a movie in Ireland that I wrote called The Problem with People. And I went because I wanted to go to Ireland to make a movie. Nobody gave me one, so I had to write one. So I went to see Banshees, and I thought, yes, it is a beautiful country, and I love both of those guys, and I love Martin McDonagh. So I hope that wins something. And then next year, maybe we'll be back to win for my movie.
Okay,
maybe.
so Paul, let me ask you this. In the spirit of Banshees of Inisherin, have you ever had to break up with a friend? And if so, how did you do it? And did they keep coming back like
What
this
I
guy?
do is I cut off my finger.
Don't give away the film.
Oh, no. It's interesting because I actually do a bit about that. Guys don't know how to end friendships. Women are very good, and they'll talk about it, and they'll have a confrontation, and then they'll be fine. Guys will just go, I'm not talking to him anymore. And then it dies because we don't have the emotional maturity
Not in Banshees.
to say, I was offended by what we just kind of let it die. But a lot of them die, and then a lot of them come back. It's the key again, start young, live long.
I love it. One last question. When
These
you
are
were
all great questions.
Thank you so much. So when you were coming of age as a comic
Yes.
in Hollywood, who were some of those comics that you looked up to?
Well, I started when I was in New York, and I was in high school, and I would go to the Village, and I would see George Carlin. Before he got big, he was still playing little, 200-seat clubs. Robert Klein, David Steinberg, and I grew up really idolizing Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner, who I got to work with when I got out here, and that was sort of a dream come true. So I've gotten to work with people that I loved, which is a great thrill.
Okay, I know I said last question, but this really
You're
is
an
my
inquisitive woman.
last question because I have watched this man. I grew up watching this man.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Chester, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia.
I know where Chester is.
Oh my goodness, he has heard of my city. Now you are added another layer why you're one of my faves. Okay, so enter, the 2020s, cancel culture. You can't say too much in your bits anymore.
We're talking a lot.
We are. But as a comic, do you feel like the comedian is being censored in a way because of cancel culture.
I think comedians always run the risk of being censored, or there's feedback every 12 seconds. So, it's your job as a comedian to know what you're doing. And some people like to push the buttons and some people don't. I've never been somebody, I don't like to make people uncomfortable. So I have my own filter system, so hopefully I will catch myself beforehand before it gets to anybody else's. Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible thing that people you have to watch what you say. It's like, yeah, why shouldn't you?
I like that.
People say, well, you don't want to offend anybody. Yeah, don't offend people.
I love that.
I'm all for it, not offending.
This was such a great interview. I went live and in depth on the red carpet with Paul Reiser, right at the 28th Annual Critics' Choice Awards. Thank you so much for your time. Congrats. Woohoo! That was good. Paul Reiser, the Paul Reiser. Y'all can't tell me nothing right now. I'm glad I came out. Despite my eyelash trying to fall off because my eyes are watering from the sinusitis that I've been talking about all week. But Paul Reiser, man, and he knew of my home city, Chesapeake, PA. How about that? Now we're cooking with grease.